I'm Lars Teigen. I'm a deputy with Snohomish County Sheriff's Office. I've worked as a deputy or a detective in one capacity or another since 2007, so I'm about 15 years now. So up until recently, I was actually working with our Office of Neighborhoods unit, which had embedded social workers and deputies working together to contact people who were struggling with homelessness due to addiction. When I got hired, it was kind of the phase where in 2007, 8, 9, 10, oxycodone and Oxycontin was the big thing. These were like prescription drugs that a lot of people either intentionally or unintentionally were prescribing to people. And I think a lot of people were willing to take them for medical issues and then became addicted. A lot of people were more likely to use them recreationally because they think, well, it's a prescription drug. People take this as medicine. How bad could it be, right? When pharmaceutical companies kind of changed the way they made those pills, it made it more expensive for people to get them illegally. We saw a big uptick in heroin use because it's the same sort of drug family. And so heroin became less expensive than the pills, and we had a lot of people using heroin. And now we've moved into this next phase of opioid addiction where it's almost all fentanyl. You see it a lot in those little blue pills that people call Percocets or Perc 30s, but they're no longer even a real prescription pill. They're just made in these labs with fentanyl being used as the main ingredient, or the main substance that's being used there. And it's not controlled. I mean, they're not being made in a true lab where you know what you're getting. So we also have a big roulette here. You're playing Russian roulette every time you smoke one of these pills because you don't know how much is actually in the pill itself. And I know it's hard for some of us, I think, to talk to our kids or our friends or our loved ones about drug use, but it's a really important issue to kind of start having those conversations and be open about it with people. A lot of the people at risk of using drugs often have other issues like depression or feeling isolation. Maybe they had a medical issue, but maybe you're seeing them slip further and further into how much they're using. Things where you see someone who's at risk, especially, be willing to talk to them and say, hey, there's other options. It's important to keep having the services that we do have and having them available to people when they're willing to accept treatment and when they're willing to accept, clean and sober housing afterwards. We need to have those things. And then I think the third thing is going to be more on the enforcement side of when we get to people who are committing crimes to feed addiction and they're not willing to voluntarily accept treatment, we're going to have something on the enforcement side. We need to come up with some new solutions, I think, as a community that helps the community overall from all the other problems that come from the drug use, and that helps all these individuals who are stuck in this pattern of addiction and aren't pulling themselves out or aren't able to.